This conference will now be recorded.
Hope my voice is clear. Can you hear me? Can someone confirm, please? So if you don't have any questions, you can be mute yourself, and whenever you have questions, you can unmute and you can ask the questions. Before we go further, let me introduce myself. So I'm Lakshman. So having more than years experience in Java J2W technologies, I work for the product-based company.
Uh,
So yeah,
Lakshman, your voice is not clear.
is it okay? Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, now it's a little bit better.
Okay, sure. So I was telling about my introduction. So yeah, I work for the product-based company. I have more than 12 years experience. Along with my office work, every day I will be doing the one or two sessions. I'll be doing in the morning. Yeah, since last 12 years, I'm doing the same thing. Okay. This is about the little introduction about myself. Today, the demo. Let me set the expectations. What we are going to cover or how the session will be delivered and where you will be giving me more focus on that. This is what I'm going to give the explanation about the entire course, how long it is going to take, what modules we would be covering, and how we are going to start this program. I'll be giving the brief introduction about the uh, entire Java full stack program. Yeah. At any point of time, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can ask. Yeah. So here, this is a Java full stack program. It is purely designed for the beginners to the advanced learners. And this program assumes that so the people who are attending these classes, they don't have any programming background. It's it starts from the basics. Okay, what is a programming? How do you write a hello world example? How do you set up your dev environment? What are the tools typically it will be used in the dev environment? Projects, real time projects. We will create a similar kind of a version we would be creating. Our environment we would be creating and we will be working on. So this Java full stack program, it starts with the first concept is we are going to do the uh, like uh, dev setup. We are going to do this here. Dev environment, we are going to do that setup. And when you're doing the dev environment, what are the things it's required? You know that we are going to learn Java, so we required a JDK. So this JDK, we would be using the latest versions. We would be using that. In my case, if you take this JDK, uh, if I'm using I'm using the Windows operating system. You guys, if you are using the Mac or other things, that's fine. So more or less, if you are using with the IDE, it will be it is going to be the same thing. I can say that here. Okay, there will not be any difference. So because we most of the times we will be working with the IDE, we are going to work with that. Correct. So here I'm using the Java hyphen version. If I see this here, so I'm using the Java 21. I'm using here. It means the latest version, which is the 21. Maybe no Java also. It's these days they are releasing the each what you can call each 6 months they are releasing the new version. They are releasing each 6 months. Okay, every 6 months they are releasing the new version, and you need not to worry about that. Every 6 months they are releasing the new version. Do I need to learn Java 21 or Java 18? No. So no. So whenever they release the new version, sometimes the features very specific to the language. We need not to know about that. Also, there are some places where they will do a lot of enhancements. They do that when they do a lot of enhancements, especially Java 8, Java 5, and Java 8, it went to really very big changes. It went to the very big changes. It went. Now those things we have to learn. Okay. Anyway, so we would be using the 21. That means what are the in the latest versions they have introduced the features. Those all features we will be learning about that. That's a one. So in dev environment, we would be using the JDK. So as of today, it's a 21. We would be using that. Like if there is a 6 months time, it is going to release another version. If it releases another version, I will be explaining about that. What is the new version and what are the new features which has been introduced in that new latest versions. Then we require a one IDE. Okay, this is IDE. We have a multiple IDs are available in the market, like Eclipse. Then we have something called the IntelliJ IDE. Then we have a NetBeans. So we are going to use the IntelliJ. We are going to use it here. IntelliJ IDE. We are going to use it here. So this IntelliJ IDE is a net, and we will be taking the community edition. We are going to use it. We are not going to use the uh, uh, ultimate edition. We are going to use the community edition. We will be using that. Yeah, and then next we are going to use the IDE. We will be using the IntelliJ IDE. We are going to use it here. And along with this IDE, then VS Code, another IDE. This is from the Microsoft. We would be using the Visual Studio Code, especially when you're learning about the UI. When you are learning the HTML and the CSS, the Angular. So we would be using the VS Code. We are going to use it here. This is another IDE, equivalent of the IntelliJ IDE, but it may not be that powerful as the IntelliJ IDE. So this is a small IDE. These days, yeah, this also has got a lot of plugin. Even you can do your Java development also in VS Code. Okay, and then we would be using the build tools. Okay, Maven, we are going to use it here. There are a lot of build tools are available in the market. We would be using the build tool is a Maven. We are going to use it in our learning phase. So what is the build tool and how we are going to use the build tools? I'll be explaining about that. Yeah. From the day one, we would be creating the Maven projects. We will be creating. We will not create we will not create a standalone Java projects. We will not create that. We will be creating the Maven project. We will be creating where you will get to know that how to use the third-party libraries and how we are going to create a multiple modules in your project. Those all explanation I will be giving in the Maven. So the Maven or Gradle. There is a two build tools most widely used one. One is a Maven, another one is a Gradle. I'll be explaining about the Maven. We are going to explain, and then you will be introducing to the one database. Okay, we are going to use the database. You will be using that here. That database we will be using the Postgres SQL. We are going to use it here. This Postgres SQL is a relational database. Okay, this Postgres SQL and then another one is the MongoDB. This Postgres SQL and MongoDB, if you take that here, these two are databases. These two are the databases. And when you're taking these databases, we would be using the no SQL databases is a Postgres SQL, and MongoDB is a no SQL database. Like no, we can call it as a document based database. We can say that here. So these two things we will not initialize manually. Okay, we will not install anything in our system. We would be using the cloud services. We are going to use it here. We would be using cloud service. One is a render.com. This is one of the cloud service. They offer the database as a service. I'll explain that here, how we are going to use the database service, how we are going to use it. I'll explain that. And the MongoDB, there is something called the Mongo Atlas. Mongo Atlas is a cloud service where we will not install these things in our machine. We would be using we will go and create a instances in the render.com, and MongoDB will create a DB instances. We would be using that. Okay. And then, yeah, these are the main tools which is required for us. And to connect with these databases, we required two more tools we required here. RoboMongo, and here DB, DBOR. Okay, DBOR, and another one is a database client. So the DBOR we would be using here. This is the DBOR. Okay. Uh, this is the DBOR. DBOR we would be using here. RoboMongo and DBOR. These are the tools which is required for us to do in our dev environment. Like when you are working, when you are going through this course, these are the things we need to install. So JDK, IntelliJ IDE, VS Code, Maven, then PostgreSQL and MongoDB. These things we will not install in our mission. We will be using the cloud services. We are going to use it here, either render.com or Mongo Atlas. We will be using that. And then there is a something called the RoboMongo and DBeaver. RoboMongo is using for the to connect with the Mongo Atlas, and DBeaver we will be using for the to connect with the PostgreSQL. We will be using the DBeaver. We are going to use it. So this is a dev setup. I'll be explaining that. First class itself, we don't require all these things. We required a only JDK and one IDE and Maven. These three are required when we start the session. Okay. So IntelliJ IDE, the Maven, and JDK it's required. So ensure that you are installing. Suppose if you are not installed this already, I'll be explaining about that how to install these tools on your operating system. So we will we will be discussing in details about that. Once you are done with that, now then so the basic dev environment we have done that. Then we are going to work with the core Java. We are going to learn about the core Java. When you are learning the core Java, we will be introducing to the fundamentals, programming fundamentals, like what is a compiler and how we are going to compile your program. What is uh, the compiler and interpreter differences, and how you will write your hello world example, and how you are going to compile, and once you compile it, what exactly it is internally is happening. We will be discussing about the basics of the programming. Then we will learn about the fundamentals of the programming, like how to write a basic programs, and how we are going to write a loops, how we are writing the for loop and the while loop and do while, then switch statements, if conditions. We'll discuss the examples. First we are going to discuss about the basics. We are going to discuss. Then we will be discussing about the all the if and else, and then we have a switch statement. Okay, then we have a for loop and while loop, how we are going to use it here. And then we will learn about the keywords, Java keywords, what are the keywords are available, and how you will be using that here, like private, public. Like there are a lot of keywords are there. So then we are taking here protected. Then you have a static. Like this, you have got the keywords, and we'll be discussing about the each keyword. How do you do that? We'll learn about that. The next one is okay. There is a one more thing I forgot to mention here. When you are doing the dev environment, the first day one itself, we need to get familiar with the Git. Okay. Git is a version control system where we are going to use the Git. Locally, we will be installing the Git, and how we are going to like when you are taking here Git, uh, the commonly when you are using the Git, the version control system. Git is a version control system, especially when you are working in the project. Most of the times you will be working with the Git. Okay, we should get familiar with the Git and how we are going to use the effectively Git. How we are going to use it here, you will be learning about. The basic commands we'll be introducing, and at the same time, how do you, how are you going to use from the IDE? You will be learning about that here. Okay, when you are using the IDE, suppose if you are using the IntelliJ IDE, so effectively how to use the Git commands from the your IntelliJ IDE, I'll be explaining about that. Yeah. Now, uh, then here the programming fundamentals. Once you learn about the all the fundamentals, then you would be learning about the your basics, like object oriented concepts. You are going to learn about that here. What is the object? What is the object, and what is a class? Like then inheritance. Okay, inheritance, how we are going to use the inheritance, okay, polymorphism, and how the things object oriented concepts works. I'll be explaining about the all the object oriented concepts. I'll be explaining. Then the main concept is in here. Once you are done with that collections, then we are going to take the exceptions, Then you would be using the reflection, how we are going to use the reflections and the generics. Okay, how we are going to use the generics. Generics will be covered in the collections, and we will discuss about the threads, how we are going to use the threads. I'll be explaining about. So these concepts will cover the core Java. And as once you have a knowledge on the core Java, now you have it. You can choose the your path, your career path in a different ways. You can go as an Android developer. You can go as a what you can call testing automation side, test automation side, or you can go it as a Java full stack developer, or if you are working it as a uh, like no, uh, like especially when you take it here, what you have a multiple paths here. Once you are done with this core Java, so where you can choose that here, you can go with the test automation side and Android development side, or we can go with the you can what you can call uh, you can go with the like no Salesforce development side also. Like this is a core Java is we can say it as a the fundamentals like no for the Android development. The Selenium developers they need a core Java, and at the same time if you are using the Salesforce, like no they use as a kind of Apex, they will use that language, and more or less it is similar to the Java. So this will help you. This Salesforce is entirely different stream. You can say that here. But as a developer, if you are going here, this knowledge is definitely it is going to help you. And another one is you can go it as a Java full stack developer. Okay. Now this is a place where you are going to learn the advanced concepts. You will be learning that here. Before you are choosing the any of these careers, and one more important concept we must have the knowledge is SQL. SQL, we will be covering the SQL, what is a SQL, and how do you write the SQL queries, and the DDL, DML, DQL. I'll be explaining about the queries, all the syntax, like now to write the joins, and we will be spending the some 6 hours on the SQL. So where you will be covering from the basics to the advanced concepts, we will be covering here. Once you are done with the SQL, then we will be discussing about the JDBC. This is the JDBC is the place where you are going to connect from your Java program to the Java program to the databases. So if you want to connect here, you have written a Java application you have written, and your database is running somewhere in the cloud, or it may be running in the local. You need to connect with this database. We need to connect with that. Once you connect with this database, okay, I'm going to connect with this database through my Java program. I'm going to connect with that here. Okay. We are going to connect with the through my by using my database. I want to connect with this database. So to connect with that, we require a interface called the JDBC. We are going to use it here. JDBC is an API which will connect with the which is going to connect with the your database. It is going to connect, and you will be interacting from your application to the database by using these SQL queries. Okay, how to do that SQL queries? So we will be learning in the SQL, and the same SQL queries you are going to write it in the Java, and you would be firing the query, and you will hit the database, and you will be getting the data. These are the basic concepts. Any developer, like now whether you are a Java developer or like no, so Python developer, the SQL knowledge is a must, and you can choose the one of the programming language. If you are a Java developer, you are choosing the Java. If it's a Python, you will be doing the Python. Like one programming language and one database, you must have the knowledge. So once you are done with these two concepts, we can we can say that no, we are comfortable working with the standalone applications. Even though we are not going to learn any GUI, so just we can develop a standalone applications where we don't know anything about the servers, how the servers are going to communicate. Those things we don't know, but we will be learning all the programming fundamentals. We will be learning in the core Java. The core Java covers this module covers these are the things. So the basics and what are the object-oriented concepts and the main concepts in core Java. Then you will be learning SQL, and we are going to learn the JDBC. These skills are must for if you are choosing your career. One of these things, either testing side, if you are going the test automation side, or you are going it as a what you can call Java full stack developer or Android developer. And if you are choosing the some other streams like Salesforce or something, if you are choosing that here, definitely it is going to help you having the knowledge of the core Java. So this is what the core Java and what we are going to cover in the core Java. So for any questions, guys, does anyone has any questions? Does anyone has any questions? Shall I go ahead? Shall I go ahead, guys? Can someone respond, please? Make it session interactive so that it will be good. Shall I go ahead
So,
with this?
so I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So, as part of this course, you will be teaching front-end related uh,
Yeah, yeah.
topics also.
Yeah. Once we are done with that, then we will be discussing about the UI. So this is a place where I'm going to discuss about the HTML, CSS, JavaScript,
Okay.
and this,
Uh,
then we will be discussing about the Angular. These are the topics we will be covering here. So
okay.
the front end, we will be covering all these things, and the main focus will be given on the JavaScript and the Angular. We will be
Okay.
so after going to learn the Angular, we need to learn the TypeScript. These things we will be covering in the UI. We are going to cover that.
Sir. So one question I have is, along with this, do we require Node.js also?
Not required. Okay,
Okay.
Node.js is not required. If you are doing it as a like a mean stack or mon stack, mean or mon stack, if you are going that here, then you require a node. Like instead of node, we are using the Java we are using here. Spring and
Okay.
Spring Boot, we will be using that. So mean is like Mongo, Express, Angular, and the Node.js. So we are not what you can say JS full stack developer. We are Java full stack developer. Where we would be using that Angular or React, Angular or React, we are going to use it here as a front end, and the back end is we are going to use the Java. Instead of Node and Express, we will be using the Java. Inside Java, we will be using the framework called Spring Boot. We will be using
Okay.
Spring Boot. We are going to use it. This is what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, also as part of core Java, you will be teaching Lambda expressions as well.
Yeah, that we'll be covering in the collections. I'll be discussing about that. In the collections, we'll be discussing about the streams and the lambda. Okay, how the lambda expressions can be created. So those things I'll be discussing in the collections. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. So now
Thank
here,
you.
how the classroom sessions will be delivered? That's a question you will have it here. And every day we will be like the moment we start our batch, we will be creating the one project for you. So suppose if I'm taking here, this is a batch, and if I'm taking here like day one, what are the examples has done that here? Those examples will be pushed to the GitHub, and you will be taking these examples and you are going to keep take it as a reference, and you will be practicing the same examples you will be practicing, or you will be creating your own examples you will be creating. Yeah, fine. So this is what like no the like suppose if I'm taking this is the class if I'm taking here the assignment questions if you take this here like you will be asked to do the assignment questions in the classroom. This is what like no get all failed transactions, get all the transactions here by UPI, get failed transactions. Like no, this is examples. What are the examples we created? And this will be given it as the assignment questions. You will be asked to do that. Yeah, and you will be developing the small projects also when you take the quiz application. Suppose if you are taking the quiz application, I learned something. I want to develop a one small application. I want to develop here. Like if you take this here quiz application, this is a classroom example, one of the classroom example where we would be developing the one small application. Enter the name. I'm going to add to the Krish. Enter the quiz type. What do you want to take it here? I want to take the Java quiz. It is saying that welcome, Krish. You have selected the quiz, and here we are going to that the quiz has got the two questions, and please wait. Your questions are your quiz is going to start. So here, why it is saying that here is like we have taken the different types. We are going to take it here. Start quiz we are taking here, and there is a one implementation. So here I asked you the like now people to do that. Like now how we are going to conduct the quiz. They will be doing the to do add the logic to for the conducting the quiz. I'll be explaining that here how to do that here, and at the same time I'll remove that code and I'll be asking you people to do that as a like each topic will have the one assignment, and those assignment questions will be assignment if you're taking here you have a three list, and from there unique names you have to be find that. So how to do that here, like whenever we take a topic and there will be assignment questions here, like no, wherever if I give the empty body, that means that I explain in the classroom and I am asking you people to do that assignment. This code will be pushed to the GitHub, and from the GitHub you will have the access, and you will be accessing this code, and we are going to write the implementations you are going to provide for that. This is the way the session will be. It's a completely hands-on sessions. Every day we will like what are the examples we are going to create it here. None of these things will be taken from the existing code. Always we will code from the scratch. We are going to code that here. Okay. And another thing is I will be using the AI tool. I will be using that here. So AI tool I will be using here, like a ChatGPT. How we use it. That similarly I'll be using the AI tool called the GitHub Copilot. The GitHub Copilot. What is this GitHub Copilot? I'll explain that here. So these days, you need not to write the basic coding. We need not to write it here. Let me give a simple example here. New class. I'm going to write it here. Generate. I'm going to say it as a okay anagram. I'm going to take it here. Anagram example. Anagram example. You are going to take it here. And when you're taking here, I'm writing a one method. Private boolean is anagram. Okay, here we are going to write it here. This is what I have written here. Now my GitHub Copilot will suggest you that. Okay, GitHub Copilot is going to suggest you that here how to do the anagram. Okay, here uh, okay logic to find the anagram you want to write it here. This is a false we are going to return here. Now I am going to ask this here. If length is not equal to this, and here we are going to say that this is a thing we are going to take it here, and here we are going to take it here. Okay, this is really giving a okay. Here we are going to take it as an anagram when I'm taking here. So if length is not equal to this length and this length is not equal to same, then we are going to say it as a false. Okay, okay. This is going to say it as a false, and here then we are going to take the S1 we want to convert into the character array. We are going to convert here character array ARR equal to 2 character array, and we are going to take the ARR2 equal to this is what we are going to sort this here, and we are going to sort this here, and finally we are going to say that here we need to compare that here. Return. I'm going to return here ARR equals to this. Here you will be saying that. This is nothing but the anagram. If you look at here, the code automatically generated for us. Okay, but even though it is generating the automatically, but we should have the knowledge like know what are the code it is generated, whether it's right or wrong. We need to have it that here. Suppose if I'm writing here private, I'm going to write it as a method called the boolean. Okay, then I'm going to say it as a is even. Okay, we'll write it as a is even. I'm writing here automatically generated here. This is the way you can test the whether even number or not. So this GitHub Copilot it will suggest you the possible coding options. You can make use of that coding options. You can make use of that. Okay, suppose if I'm saying here, I'll be saying that as a class. I'll be taking here product. I'm going to take it here. My product has got the what are the things it contains the product. They are going to recommend for you. Okay, they will be recommending you that like no what are the things it contains here. Product will have the PID, name, brand, expiry, availability. These many things. It's saying that here you can have these are the properties you can have it here. Okay. So depends on the your need. Like you can take it here. Some of the things only I'm good with the these things. I don't want to. So many other things we don't require here. We could delete that here. Okay, just we are going to take it here. Like no, the category we are going to take the quantity. This is the good enough for me. I'm going to take it here. So these are some of the suggestions it will be giving the GitHub Copilot. It is going to give that here. When in the classrooms, I would be using the GitHub Copilot. We will be using here. There are the places where we will write the very common code. We'll write it here, and that common code we need not to reproduce that here. And moreover, like GitHub and GitHub Copilot and chatbots, like if you're using the AI tools, if you're using that here, there is nothing wrong. Even the industry is also encouraging to you people to use that here. So suppose if I'm taking here, there is a simple example. Let me give you that here. Okay, this is the example whatever we created earlier. What are the example we created earlier? This is what. Like now, I want to create it 10 products. I want to create it here. Let's we'll put it as a at the rate of getter. And here we are going to set the at the rate of setter. I'm saying here with the rate of follow concept. Suppose here I want to create a 10 product objects. I want to create it here. Main method I'm going to write it here. I'm going to say that here. Create 10 products and store it in an array. Okay, when you are taking here, this is what. And here we are going to ask this here product of 0 this and product of 1 equal to this. Like no, it is giving the automatically code for us. There is no need of doing the manually entering the 1001, 1002. Those things we need not to do that here. There are places where you have a repeated code you would be having that here. Those repeated codes you can handle. This is the way you would be handling. Okay. These are places where it is going to help you that here. Okay. So this is the main advantage of using the AI tools. Like AI tools, we even I'm saying that here some of the companies they are asking you people to whenever you are generating the test cases and all these things here, wherever it is a repeated code, better go with the AI generated tools code. You can use it and you can make your things quickly. There is no need of spending the doing the repetitive tasks. So this is the GitHub Copilot is a it's a pair programmer. When you are doing that coding, it will give you a lot of suggestions. It is going to give you that. So I will explain you that here how we are going to use the AI tools. GitHub. One is like a Bitbucket, not Bitbucket, sorry, ChatGPT. How we are going to connect with the ChatGPT, and if, like there are some places you have seen that here. The websites, what they will do, they will integrate with the ChatGPT. Hey, you ask the question, we will show the code for you. Okay, they are going to show the code in the same website itself. They are going to show the code in their website. How do you connect with the ChatGPT? Like whenever you type something and how you are getting the data and how you will be displaying the data in your website. I'll be explaining about that. Okay. Then once you are done with the UI technologies, then you would be going with the uh, like server side technology. We are going to learn about the servlets and JSPs. We will not spend more time in servlets and JSP because almost we can say that people are not using. Okay, servlets and JSPs. Everybody is using with the Spring and the Spring Boot. We would be using that here. But to get familiar with the how web works, like how do you create your web application? How do you deploy to the server? And how your UI pages will communicate with the server and the server, what are the response it is giving, how we are going to handle that to understand the request and the response, request, response, and the session, how the sessions works. To understand this concept, okay, to understand this concept, we will be using the servlets and JSPs. We are going to use it here, and then we would be discussing about the Spring framework, okay, Spring Boot, and the Spring framework we will be learning through the by using the Spring Boot, where we are going to learn about the core module, JDBC, then you will be learning about the MVC module, then uh, RESTful web services, how we are going to develop the RESTful web services, then Spring Spring security. Okay. So these are the multiple modules you are having here. AOP, how we are going to use it here. There are a lot of modules or other modules are available. When you are learning the Spring, you must have the knowledge of the core JDBC, MVC, RESTful data, Spring data, and security and AOP. How we are going to use it here, we will be learning about that. And once you learn about the Spring framework, then here we are going to learn about the we are going to learn about the CI/CD jobs, Jenkins, how we are going to use the Jenkins, and then SonarQube, how we are going to use the SonarQube. Okay, SonarQube, how we are going to use it here. Then you will be learning about the deploying your applications into the by Docker. I'll explain about the how we are going to build the Docker images and how to deploy that. The Docker images, whatever we build, we are going to deploy into the render.com. How to deploy your application, and I'll be explaining about that. Once you are done with these things, the Spring and other things, this is the place where we are going to learn. We learn the UI, we learn the database, and we learned about the server side, the Spring Boot we learned here. So how are you going to UI applications? How do you connect with the server and how we are going to interact with the database? We would be developing the application. So that application will be using it as a front end as Angular, and the server side we are going to use it as a Java. That's a Spring Boot we are going to use it here. Java Spring Boot you would be using, and the backend we are going to use the. This is our database we are going to use the PostgreSQL. Okay, PostgreSQL we are going to use it here. Now your Angular application will talk to the your server side application. The server side application which is going to talk to the your database, it is going to talk to that here. And this when Angular application needs to communicate with the Java, and Java has to go and talk to the databases. So to do that here, you would be using the APIs you would be writing here. That's a RESTful web services you would be writing. And these RESTful web services, typically, it will exchange the data in the common format. That's a JSON or XML. JSON or we are going to use the XML. We are going to use it here. During this core Java learning, I will be explaining about the external files. What are the files we will use it here? One is a JSON, then XML, then we have a CSV, then we have a XLS files. Okay, XLSX files we are having here. Then we have something called the JSON AML. Okay, there is something called the AML. These are the, and then there is something called the properties. Okay, these are the commonly used files in the project, either JSON, XML, or CSV, XLSX, AML files, and property files. How to deal with these files, I'll explain that here. How we are going to create a JSON file, from JSON to how we are going to convert into the your Java objects, yeah, Java objects to the JSON object, and XML, CSV files, how we are going to read it here, XSL, how we are going to read it here, ML and property files. These two files will be typically used when you're doing the configurations. Like the servers, when you do the database servers will have the some host name and your username and your password. Those all details, the properties, you will not hard code in the your code. Instead of that, you are going to put it in a common place. You are going to put that here. The common place is you can say it as a ML, or you can use the properties. You can use the ML or property files. You will be using that here. I'll explain that here. How do you convert to the ML file and to convert into the proper, reading the property file, and how to do that here. I'll be explaining in the core Java itself. Okay, so as a full stack developer, you are going to get familiar with the backend. This is nothing but the Java, and you are going to familiar with the Angular, and at the same time you are going to use the PostgreSQL. You are going to use it here. And what kind of applications you are going to develop that here? That's a question we will have it here. And if you look at here render.com, and if you go back to the previous batches, what are the previous batches I was dealing, the applications whatever they developed, we will be deploying into the 22 days ago, and here we deployed a month ago, we deployed that here. So suppose if I'm taking this project, this is a project, we can take it as a cbook, and here we have a IPL stats UI application we are having here. Okay, I don't think so. I use that here. Country info, IPL stat, contact book. Like this is my database, and here we are going to take it as the IPL June stats. I'm going to open this project. I'm going to open here. This is a render.com. This is my UI application, and that UI application has got the corresponding backend application it is having here. Okay, this is the UI application we are having here. Okay, June stats web service. Okay, this is a web service. Okay, then you have a country info. Let me open this country info, and this is a web. Like no, there is a something static, and there is a some dockers are available. How to use these dockers? How we are going to use these dockers? I'll be explaining that here. See my applications, whatever you are using the free service we are using here. Okay, that may not immediately. The moment you make a request, immediately it may not work. It may take the probably little time. Okay, just I'm going to click on this on render.com. You can see here. This is the country information you are going to get it here. This country information we have a two application. One is the UI, another one is the backend. Okay, UI and the backend we are having here. This is the backend which internally uses the this is the database, it uses that here and it will be connecting with that. And if you look at this UI, okay, country information, like most of my APIs will fail now because we are I'm making the request after a long time. The servers will go for the sleep mode. Okay, servers will enter into the sleep mode. The reason for that is like no, we are using the free service. If you are not your service, if you're not getting the request for the more than 30 minutes, the servers will automatically go for the sleep mode. It will enter into the sleep mode. It's going to enter. First two requests it may fail. Then subsequent request it is going to respond here. Okay, let me wait for this. Okay, good. So here, when you are taking here, what are the UI application UI you learn here? You are going to we are going to develop that small applications you will be developing and you will be deploying into the server so that you can even you can put it in your profile saying that this is what I have developed. This is what I have developed, and you can show like no, interviewer who are doing that here. What did you learn and what are the things you have implemented? Just you can show that here. Hey, this is what I have created my projects, and you can explain that here. How it has built, you would be explaining that here. Hey, I use my backend database server is PostgreSQL, which I created an instance in the render.com, and then I'm using in my backend as a Java and the Spring I'm using here. And to interact with these pages, I use the Angular application or Angular, or you can write it here. You have a multiple choices. You can, once your APIs are ready, you can use the Angular or iOS, or maybe you can write the Android application. These are the clients or simple JavaScript client also you can write it here. These clients will talk to your Java application, and Java application is going to talk to the internally to the databases and what are the response it's getting. How we are going to display that you will be deciding. So this is the way the applications are going to be developed, and I'll explain each and everything how we are going to link that here. When you are linking, what are the problems you'll encounter and how to solve that here. We will be dealing with that, and finally we are going to deploy the applications into the server we are going to deploy, and we will see that here what is the response it is getting. So we would be checking that here. Okay, the API is failing. Why it's failing? Let me check this here. Every demo page, and here this demo also. So the server might have not started. That's a reason uh, it's not getting the data. Okay, now we got the data. That means server is off. You can see here. This is the data. This is what we developed that. Like in a entire world, what are the countries are there, and what is the region it belongs to? What is the population, area, and the flag? What is the flag they use as here? This is the response. It is giving here, like from the server side. This response we converted into the as a UI developer. You will take that response you are converting into the table. Suppose if I'm taking the region and Europe, if I'm taking here, so what is the Europe population? Okay, so in one country it has got the only population is of 451. Okay, I don't know what is that country. Okay, just we can check that here. Which country it is, we can check that only if I'm saying taking the Europe regions, we will get it here. But here we did not have the API for that. Now here, Asia is the most populated region. Then we have a Europe. Okay, there is some negligible number. So Antarctica. So we don't have the very very negligible number you are having here. Top five populated countries are China, India, United States. Then you are going to take the Indonesia, Pakistan. Okay, these are the uh, top five populated countries in the world. So this data, where did you get this data? This entire data we built a server side. We have taken the server side. This is the application. If you take that here, so this is a place where we have taken the country info dot country info REST API. REST API. If you take this here, this is a website. I have taken. We will be taking the data from this website, and we will take a JSON data, and we will consume this API in our application. We will store it in our database, and then we are going to write our own APIs the way you want. You are writing the APIs, and you will be exposing that APIs, and you are building a one simple UI. You are going to build that here, where you would be showing the the country, the population, and basic statistics of the populations. You would be showing that. Yeah. Now, if I'm searching for the India, if I'm searching here, what is that India? Okay. What is the India? India population is how much? So, what is a flag? This is all the information you would get. So this UI, when you're learning here, you will learn about the Bootstrap and how we are going to use it here. Angular, how you would be using that here, and how we are going to make a call whenever the things are changed. Like there is a population. They have got the only one country. It's just 30,000 people is the population. Okay. So there is a one country which is zero. It is showing that here. Okay. Europe, if I'm taking here, there is a Europe, and Africa, if I'm taking here. This is a way you could get the basic statistics and how we are going to display the same data in the form of a Google chat. How do you display that here? We can we can use the Google Chats in our GUI. So this is the way entire the course will go. It's completely hands-on, and completely you will be very close to real-time examples we will be giving. And what are the code I'm doing here? Everything is will be available to you. GitHub. If you go to the GitHub, suppose if you take the previous matches, what are the code? You today we push the code. September batch. If I take that here, this is the code. You will have it here, and you will be having the development branch. All the code, what are the source code so far it is developed, it will be available for your reference. So this is the way the sessions are going to be delivered, and these are the topics I'm going to cover. Uh, I'm going to cover. These are the topics I will be covering here. So at the end of the course, you will get the equivalent of the 2 years experience developer. What are the things he does that you'll get it in the classroom. And provided that you are attending the classes every day, and you are practicing the what are the classroom examples and what are the homeworks or assignments I'm giving, you are doing those assignments. This is what you can expect from the classroom sessions. And one more topic I missed, that here you would be covering the JUnit, how to write the unit test cases for your code. I'll be covering the JUnit. I'm going to cover. So daily 1 hour 20 minutes I'll be taking the session. So it will go up to 2.5 months this course. Yeah. So it may extend the another week or uh, uh, 2 weeks, not less than that. Yeah. So minimum it takes the 2.5 months. You can say. Any questions so far? Don't worry if you don't understand some of the this terminology, but just I want to give you the once you attend this program, and where suppose if I want to go it as a testing side, till where it's required, and if you are going it as Android developer, what is required, and SQL knowledge is a must. Either you go it as Angular developer or any developer, the moment you say developer, the must have skills is the SQL. These are the things would be covering in this Java full stack.
Sir, so
Well,
do we get a recordings daily? I mean,
yeah,
day
you
by
get
day?
yes, every day you will get the recording. Once we are done with the session, within a 2 hours time, the recordings will be shared with the registered email ID.
Okay, and I'm having one more doubt. I mean, you told that you will install and one AI tool in the Visual Code, like AI tool.
Yes.
So will they accept in the industry standards? I mean, in an organization, I mean, without knowing that how to write the code, if we use that, it will be very hard, right? I mean, once we join an organization, it will be very tough how to
One thing,
understand the code.
whenever you are using any AI tools, they will give
Hmm.
you the suggestions. Like you should have the you should be in a position to take right information. Like no,
Yeah.
if you cannot decide that which one is right, which one is wrong, if you dump that, then you'll end up with the problems.
Yes.
Okay, once you get a experience, if you are doing the same thing like reading the file from the JSON file and you are writing into the database, so it's a repeated task. Like every time you have to do the same steps, you have to do
Hmm.
that code you can generate by using the AI tools. Getting?
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
for the
So
newbies.
generally,
Who doesn't know anything, you cannot go on to use the AI tools and you cannot work in a products. No?
yeah. So, I mean, generally, what is the duration? I mean, exact duration of this course? I mean, like 2.5 to 3 months.
Yeah, 2.5 to 3 months.
So, will it extend to more or else it will be done? I mean, whatever the content you told now.
It will not go more than that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, and one more doubt, sir. I mean,
Only
so
it's a
as
6 day week. 6 day week you'll get it here. Every week we'll get it 9 hours. No, you just calculate it in that way. Yeah.
yeah, I got it. And one more doubt, sir. I mean, once we learn like day by day, whatever you explain and whatever we do, I mean, learning day by day and doing the assignments. So, can we consider this like having like 2 years of experience once we get
Yeah.
this? I mean,
Yes. Yes. So
okay,
that is
okay, sir.
how assignment questions and things has been designed. So you'll have the exposure of the 2 years experience. Like exactly how industry we are doing the projects, the same way the classrooms will also go using the Git and branching the Git. How we are going to push that into that, and how we are going to use the build tools. How do you write the unit
Okay,
test your application? So we will be like in case of the projects you have the very huge code. Here we will be taking a small modules of that small unit of the in the
yeah,
module or not a complete module, you will take a small thing and you will be working on that. Like entire thing creating that, it may take the really long time. And when you are creating these projects, like what are the projects I explained just now, I showed you that here, then you will be
yeah.
complete. This is a small project, you can take it as this is a small project. Like you are hitting the APIs and you are getting the data and you are getting the statistics of that. On top of that, you can add the much more operations you can add it, correct? Which are
Okay,
the countries UAN registered, which are the countries are not registered. You can provide a lot of other information you can provide. But I'm showing the very basic information, basic statistics I'm showing.
okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I mean, by learning this entire course, like day by day, I mean, we can join in an organization as a fresher, like or like 1 or 2 years of
Yes.
experience, right?
Yes. 2 years experience. Good.
Okay, okay, sir.
Uh,
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, that's all from my side in the demo session. Okay. So I hope you have learned something from me. So it is 1 hour that is useful for you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So this is a 6